Yes, it is one of the biggest days in the football calendar. Palace take on Manchester City, FA Cup final tomorrow, 4:30. You can hear it all live on talkSPORT. Adrian Durham will be bringing you that one. Commentary from Jim Proudfoot, Manchester City former manager Stuart Pearce, and former Crystal Palace midfielder John Solako. Ray, how impressed have you been with Palace so far? And what sort of problems will they cause Manchester City tomorrow?
Well, the system really suits their players. I think that's really where he's changed it. Three at the back. They've got the attacking fullbacks getting forward and getting good balls in. So Mateta has been excellent, as we mentioned before. But that midfield area is very, Saar probably play in behind with Eze. And Eze's got that free license now. He knows he's got the backup behind him. Whoever plays Walton, whether it's Will Hughes or who am I missing out here? The Bournemouth
Daichi Kamada or Jefferson Lerma play.
I'm thinking of Lerma more. Who's that ball-winning player? That ball-winning player. But they've just been a really, really good team this year to watch. I think they've been really, really, especially away from home.
Walton's had a bit of an injury and he missed the game against Tottenham last weekend. They'd say he's about 80% ready for the final, but it's a groin problem.
Yeah, well, it's not worth risking him when they know they've got a big cup final coming up. So, whether he plays or not, we'll have to wait and see. But he's an excellent player, youngster. But I think they've just been exciting. I think the Palace fans have had a real good season. They've really enjoyed watching their team. And as I said before, away from home, they've been excellent. That last win against Spurs as well. I thought I really fancied them to win that game because they're going into the cup final with a bit of a momentum. And I really think it's going to be a close on what the bookmakers are putting at the moment.
So I think that most people sort of are guessing that Crystal Palace winning the FA Cup would be sort of like the neutrals view, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah?
But there are a couple of clubs that will be desperate for Manchester City to win the FA Cup tomorrow. Not just Manchester City fans. That's because the two European places that are given to the domestic trophy winners in England will be passed down into the league table if Manchester City win the FA Cup tomorrow, because Newcastle and Manchester City will already qualify for those competitions via the league. It means if City win tomorrow, 8th place will be likely to get an European spot. The 4 teams in the hunt for that 8th spot at the moment are Bournemouth, Brentford, Brighton, and even Fulham. I mean, Fulham have had a bit of a wobble the last couple of weeks, but there's still an outside chance of them getting there. Which one of those 4 would you love to see in Europe next season?
I think Bournemouth have had a great season. Really have. Like the way they play as well, taking football. I always go back to that Newcastle game at St James's Park when they blew them apart, didn't they? I think it was 4-1, wasn't it?
I think they only had 11 fit players.
You looked at their bench and it was all youngsters. Youngsters. So they got to have, and there was no moaning about it. Just got on with it, didn't they, Bournemouth? So that would be great for the club if that happened. So probably I would go edge towards them, but every single side is such an important. If you can get into that European, you're under the floodlights, and I think the Premier League's so strong, but they would put whoever gets in it in the 8th position will put a really good go to the latter stages. I should imagine in that tournament.
Well, I know who Alan Pardew out of that quartet would want to get through to the the last the knockings of the 8th spot and therefore into Europe, and that would be Fulham, his team. But he's very much focusing on Crystal Palace this weekend because he was the last man who got them to an FA Cup final nearly 10 years ago. It's a very good morning to the former Crystal Palace boss and talkSPORT Final Word host, Alan Pardew. Alan, good morning.
Morning, Alan.
Good morning, Ray and Sam. How are we?
Yeah, very good, thank you. Are you feeling glad all over?
Glad all over is not what I would term how I'm feeling, no.
Is that
I'm
nervous?
Feeling slightly apprehensive because I think Palace obviously have an outstanding chance. So... Let's wait and see.
Okay, well, I'm sure it's very exciting. Obviously, we referred to the 2016 FA Cup final where you were almost glad all over because you, at one stage, it looked very much like you were going to win it. You did a brilliant job against Manchester United.
Well, obviously, I played in 1990 as well, and we was probably even closer in that game. And unfortunately, in cup finals, the margins can be very, very tight. And, you need little lady luck to shine on you. And 120 years, I think it is, Palace have been formed without winning a major trophy. Although the 1990 side did manage to get the Zenith Data Trophy, Ray might vaguely remember
Yeah,
that.
I do, yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't really something that we went round the town on a bus after winning. So this major trophy is still there for the taking, and hopefully this team, I hope takes the spirit of the 1990 team and the team that I took there into the final, perform well, have a little bit of luck, and end up winning the trophy.
It's just on the occasion now, isn't it? I mean, everybody knows it's such a big game, the FA Cup final, and it's certain players, you just got to stay calm. Like, I'm going back to when I played in finals. You just had to try and approach it like any other game. I know it's an old cliche, but that's what he's got to try and do, and not put too much pressure on the players. Let them go out and play, but they know what's at stake. It's a massive, massive game for Palace to get into European football and all that sort of stuff. So just got to try and play the occasion, but obviously don't freeze on the occasion as well.
Yeah, I think this team, you mentioned it earlier, the win at Spurs, the form they're in. I think they're going into this game with momentum that certainly my team, when I took it there 10 years ago, didn't have that momentum. And the 1990 side, actually not quite the momentum this team has. So I think their confidence level's high. I think they look at Manchester City, the back four still doesn't look sound to me. The protection in front looks suspiciously weak as well. And Eze, Sarr, and Mateta will cause them problems. But also Muniz, he gets in the box from that right wing back. He'll be a real threat, I think, tomorrow in the final. So your headline, I can read it now. Can Crystal Palace cause an upset? Well, I don't know if it will be an upset. I think it's a really even game.
Yeah,
it's fascinating, isn't it? Because Crystal Palace, over the course of the season, have got better and better. The beginning of the campaign was terrible. Started so badly, couldn't win a game for love nor money, and then they went on this brilliant run. Mateta started scoring goals. You mentioned about the wing backs. Tyreek Mitchell's played really well this season as well on the left-hand side. Gets up, causes problems, and actually he could have scored in that game at Manchester City. There could have been 3 or 4-0 up before half-time and ended up surrendering a 2-goal lead and ended up losing 5-2 there. And that defence has been really important too, because after they lost Chalobah in January, there were a few concerns whether or not they could continue to gel. But Chris Richards has come in alongside Lacroix and Mark Gay, and they've done brilliantly in front of Dean Henderson.
They have, and I certainly would prefer Crystal Palace's defence to Manchester City's. He might even play Ortega in goal, and that will weaken them a little bit more. But I think the key matchup in this game is going to be Lacroix against Haaland. Where is Haaland, the big fella? He's had one game. They're trying to sort of get him fit and ready. But game time is so important, as Ray will tell you, Sam. Obviously, you're not a footballer, so you don't know that. But that matchup, because they both stay very, very central in the pitch. That will be key area that Lacroix can look after him.
I think Eze as well, Al. I mean, he's a player who's really enjoying his football. Looks like he's playing in a position that really suits him as well. He knows he's got the backup behind him, and he's got that freedom to get forward and make things happen for Palace. And he's got so much ability, isn't he? And I think he could really shine tomorrow.
Yeah, it's the sort of stage that I think he raises his game for. He's not been brilliant all season at Crystal Palace, and the fans would tell you that. But this last period, and when he gets a big stage, his moments, he executes, and his choice making is outstanding. So he passes when he should, he puts crosses in, at the right time. He takes the shot, he creates, he dribbles, wins free kicks. So it's essential to have a player like that. And Crystal Palace, throughout the history, I've had very rarely had a player of this quality, and being a chess champion, you see one online recently.
Yeah.
That doesn't surprise me. He's a very strategic player. So yeah, you're right, Ray. He is key, and I think Manchester City would try and do a job on him. Kovac or someone will be really tight with him. Yeah. So he's going to have to work hard to find some room.
Alan Pardew, who's a brilliant man motivator, by the way, because a couple of weeks ago he saw me. He said to me, "Sam, been on the snacks, have you?" Bit of extra timber there.
Is it?
Yeah.
And
And
there's
that was
nothing
it.
obvious, eh?
I've been straight on it. Alan, you'll be pleased to know.
Good.
Couple of kilos is gone. All down to you.
Good man, good man. You know, obviously, I work with Madge, and Madge, you know, we have to watch the weight with Madge as well. So the cakes have had to take a back seat on a Sunday. It's fruit only now.
Brilliant.
Looking forward to seeing you tomorrow, Al. Thank you very much.
Cheers, Al.
Cheers, guys. Have a great weekend.
Cheers. Thank you very much. It's Alan Pardew's back alongside Majestic on Final Word this Sunday from 6:30, bringing all the fallout from Everton's final ever game at Goodison and the battle for 8.
I'll tell you what, though, I mean, everybody involved in Manchester City, the people behind the scenes, Sam, all going to go with their families to Wembley, Crystal Palace as well. It's a great day out. It really is.
Yeah.
And the sun will be shining, which it always does on Cup Final day. Always a hot day. We always played in Cup Finals, boiling hot. It was always boiling hot.
I love it when the sun's shining at Wembley as well. It looks even better. I do love Wembley. I know a lot of people don't like Wembley, but I love Wembley.
Yeah.
I think it's a brilliant place to go and watch the football. It's great. And there's so many people in there. There'll be so many people in there tomorrow, and it'll be a brilliant day for the Crystal Palace fans as well. And you never know. Like I say, I wasn't a footballer, but you know, I do recognise great dance moves, and Alan Pardew may well bust out some great dance moves tomorrow.
I'm sure he would if
Crystal Palace end up winning the FA Cup. Coming up, did Ray Parlour run the Arsenal dressing room? We'll find out next.
talkSPORT Breakfast, waking you up Monday to Friday morning from 6 a.m. on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.